Happy Juneteenth. Let me tell you something, okay? Look,
Mm,
before I even get into telling you something,
okay.
okay? Welcome to Sis Let's
Yay.
Talk Live. All right. Where we bring real conversations, raw honesty, and community support in our group with rotating hosts. This week is just me and you, Ty.
Just me and you, boo.
And just me and you. And of course, we have interactive discussions on life, love, and business. Of course, sisterhood.
Yeah.
How are you feeling today? Today is
You
Juneteenth.
know what? I feel good. Today is a really good day. I feel really good. I am so
Hey,
grateful to the
Francine.
ancestors, all that they've sacrificed for us to be here today. So I feel good today. How about yourself?
To all the ancestors.
Yeah.
Listen, them gyms was packed today. I wasn't expecting that. The gym was
Glad you
packed
made
today.
it.
I mean, it's all good. But goodness, I
Glad
was
you
in
made it.
there and I was like, I don't know why I see so many people. And it was like, it's a holiday, girl. It's like, oh, I didn't. I keep forgetting. Remember the Dory brand. I keep
Right, right,
forgetting, but
right.
okay, yeah, excited. I know it was so many events that happened today. So
Yeah,
I
there was
know
a lot
all
of
my
it.
girlies are out, and that's fine. But when you come back, my love, we'll be
Mm,
here for you.
we will be here. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah. So what did you do today, Ty? What's going on with you?
So I was invited to it was a Juneteenth like party, I guess you want to call it, but celebration. And it was just good to see black people just having a good time. Having a good old time, listen to some good old school music, and then of course the thunder showers came, and I had to get out of there so I can
Them
make it here on
showers, Lord.
time. But it was a
The
good
rain
time.
has been listen, the rain has been going nonstop, okay?
Hmm.
I don't know if I should be scared or not.
No,
I
next
don't
week, girl.
know.
Next week it's gonna be hot. You hear me? It's gonna yes, it's gonna be hot. So I
Ladies,
hope you got your
please.
black girl sunblock.
Neutrogena. I just got the
Okay, Miss
But
Neutrogena.
ladies, if you did not know, it's gonna be like it's gonna be 100 degrees. That's the only thing I saw for next week.
I'm not ready,
I
but
was
I'm
like,
ready.
whoa, what?
I'm not ready, but I'm ready. But I'm ready.
Absolutely.
So look, I want to talk about the announcements. So if you're interested in being a guest host, or you have a question, need some advice from your good sis, or you're an entrepreneur wanting to showcase your business as a spotlight member, please email us at sisletstalklive@gmail.com. Okay. And make sure you follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube and TikTok. But we have
All
some
right.
upcoming events. Go ahead. I'm sorry, sis. What you said?
No, go. No. I was just gonna say, and if you on this live, make sure you like and share. And what else? What was the last one?
Subscribe.
Thank you, because I forgot. All right, back
Sounds
to
good.
you.
So thank you. You got my back. I appreciate you for that.
Thanks,
So
Francine. Go ahead and do it.
we got some upcoming events. A day in the park. We are planning a day in the park at Busch Gardens, July 12th. So if you are on Black Women Making Friends, make sure you go to the event page and sign up so we can get out and have a good old time and fellowship. Also, popular event that Miss April is hosting, river tubing. We're doing river tubing again, July 20th. So make sure that you tell your friends that are in the group. Tell your friends to tell a friend that's in the group to show up for July 20th. And that'll be an event that you need to check out on the event tab as well. We also are planning a field day. Oh, we're gonna have so much fun this summer. We are planning a field day in August. The date is to be determined, okay? Also, we're planning a beach day in August. The date is to be determined. But make sure that you are checking out those event tabs so we can so you can see what's going on. And let's get together and have a good time. I know you're ready because I am.
Listen, I am more than ready.
We about to,
Honestly,
what
I'm
the
a
kids
little
say, we about to be
excited.
lit. We about to be lit.
I'm a little excited. Listen, I love roller coasters. I love hanging. I love water. The field day. Listen, I'm competitive, so y'all better be ready for that. Y'all better be ready.
I'm so
Okay,
ready.
and right, and river tubing. I didn't expect it to be so popular this year, but hey, here we are again, July 20th. Don't forget. So moving on. Right.
Moving on.
So, what the topic of the day? Okay.
Okay. Oh, wait. I got you. Hold on. I'm about to tell you.
Okay.
Damn. Self-discovery is healing.
Absolutely, absolutely. So for the first question, I just gotta ask, and you guys who's watching and viewing in, please tag a comment and let us know. Okay, what's one trait about you that you used to hide but now celebrate?
Hmm.
What's
That's
one
a really
trait
good
about
question.
you that you used to hide but now celebrate?
I think
Ty.
for me, yeah, I used to. Oh my goodness, I feel like this is gonna get deep today. I was not comfortable in my skin. I really was
Okay.
not comfortable in this tone, this melanin. I was not comfortable. I think sometimes kids can be cruel, right? Kids can be cruel. And then the world just tell you so many things about yourself before you even discover those things about yourself. Um, but I think I want to say probably in my 30s is when I started to really love the skin that I was in. I started to love this tone. I started to love just my shade and all the things that I can do. Not do when it came to my hair, and that was another thing that was a part of that. You know what I mean? Different styles that I can wear with this tone, different colors. You know what I mean? So I really started to embrace this dark skin that I have and not be
Right.
afraid to be around others that were lighter than me. You know what I mean? Because it was intimidating, and you didn't feel pretty. But I feel gorgeous now, so can't tell me.
You know, I'm just gonna piggyback off that for just a second because my darker melanin baddies, oh my gosh, you guys, flawless skin. I love the chocolate. Like your skin glows, especially with orange. When I see
Mm,
orange
mm.
on my baddies, oh my gosh, like it just brings out your skin so much. Oh, and you know what? I am not just sitting here saying it just because you're listening, okay? I'm so serious.
Okay,
I am so serious,
I
especially with
believe
the
you.
color orange.
I believe you. I believe you. I like wearing bright colors now, though. I can tell you that. I definitely like wearing bright colors. What about
Hey
you? What about
Jill,
you?
hey Kimberly.
Oh,
So
thank you
I
for
would say,
joining.
write. Don't forget to write in the comments, you guys. What is one trait about you that you used to hide but now celebrate? So one trait about me that I used to hide and now celebrate. I'm going to give you two.
Mhm.
One was this mouth. Okay. Um.
Tell me about the mouth, girl. Tell me about it.
Okay. So if you didn't know, if you don't know me, I'm really, like outgoing, kind of rambunctious at times.
Hmm.
I say I tell it like it
Yeah, I
is, but
love that about you, though. I love that
yeah,
about you.
I don't sugarcoat anything. And but growing up, that was something that was kind of punished in a way, like, hey, why are you talking so much? Like you shouldn't be
Mm,
talking to grown folks, or you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that. So my personality, even at a young age, was kind of suppressed.
right.
um and now that I'm older, I'm a speaker. Like I do public speaking, I'm coaching, I'm doing all
I
these
love
different
that for
things.
you.
And it's like sometimes the one trait that people despise about you, and yes, I said despise,
Hmm.
it could be jealousy, it could be anything, insecurities that's being projected onto you. Because I can honestly tell you that, after being suppressed with, for my, how I talk, or,
Right.
how I even, converse with others,
Right.
overall, it was really diminished. Like, hey, oh no, like you need to stop, or you shouldn't be talking like that,
Right.
or you need to
Right.
tone it down. It's like,
Right. Right.
okay. So, but when I got out there and I started doing the things that I love to do, because sometimes we are in our purpose.
Right.
Sometimes our traits that we hide is our purpose.
Hmm.
So,
Hmm.
I just want to say that.
No,
Um,
I love that you acknowledge that. But I could tell you that's the one thing that I love about you, though, that you're very boisterous. You know what I mean? And you definitely make sure your voice is heard. I love that about you, seriously. But Kimberly says she used to dumb down her blackness.
Mm.
That's big. Kimberly, so when did you discover, when did you stop doing that? That's what I would like to know, because that is a thing in our community. You know what I mean? Whether that's the lighter tone all the way to the darker tone, we kind of, I think the world kind of make us dumb ourselves down. You know what I mean? And just stand in it. You are beautiful. We all are beautiful, and whatever tone you are gorgeous in your own right. So thank you for
I
that,
think they
Kimberly.
Yes, Kimberly, thank you. But I gotta throw some funny in it, Ty.
Go
So
ahead.
I
I'm
believe there's
listening.
different levels of blackness.
I
You got your
mean,
high extreme,
I
and
mean,
then you got your low minimum tone.
I mean, we are so like there's just
Because
so many levels to it.
so many, but you know what's so crazy? Good in every hood, They're saying it's like, but overall, embrace them all. Like someone's like, oh, that some might say our blackness
Mm,
is too ghetto. Some
yeah.
might say, as I say, too loud. Some might say
Hmm.
our blackness is too much, but is it really too much? Or
Or is
are
it too much
you
for
just not
you?
enough?
It's just too much for you.
Absolutely.
For
So
you.
yes, like keep that in mind because I feel like when it comes to our blackness, it is suppressed for those very reasons. It's because we show our creativity or how we talk. It just it our vibration all together is triggering to some.
It
So
is.
I'm glad that you overcame that, Kimberly, because we dope out here. We're
I mean,
really
if
really
people
dope
try to imitate, you know what I mean? They try to imitate, but definitely can't
all
duplicate.
the time, all the time.
They try to imitate us all the time. I mean, even from our lingo, the way we talk, the way we walk, the way we dress. You know what I mean? And the one thing that I love about Black people is that, and it's funny, this Juneteenth, that I love about Black people is that we can adapt in any situation. We can adapt
Oh
to
yeah.
any situation. So I love that about us. Despite what the world says about us, we overcome it. So I love that.
I'll agree with that. I can
Yeah,
agree.
yeah, I love that. So we have the topic of discussion tonight, and the question is, did you forgive yourself yet? And we have a few questions for
Mhm.
you. April, you want to go with that first question? I think it's a really good
Did you
question.
forgive yourself yet? So what's and this is for you guys too. What's one thing that you secretly blame yourself for? Now, I'm going to say one thing before I even say one thing that, I still secretly blame myself for.
Hmm.
We all go through things for a reason. We all go through, whether it's to teach us a lesson or to help us recognize where we are and that we don't like it or whatever the case.
Hmm.
Everything we do is a learning experience. So I don't blame myself for anything I've done in the past, but sometimes I reflect on, why did you do that?
Right. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
you know,
yeah. Yeah,
it's
yeah,
like,
yeah. I agree with that.
you know, and if I was able to go backwards, some of the relationships that I previously had, I wouldn't. But that goes back to ask the question, like back for me to say the things that I've learned. Like you're supposed
Mhm.
to learn from your past, you know, relationships, your past hits, anything.
Right, right,
You're
right,
supposed to learn and grow from it. So it's like, do I really blame myself? Do I really? Because at that time, we didn't know any better. So,
right. You don't know what you don't know. Yeah,
exactly. So
yeah.
I wouldn't say I blame myself, but I do reflect
Okay.
a lot. What about
Yeah.
you?
Blame myself. I was sitting here thinking about that. I can't say that, like you said, I can't say that I blamed myself for certain things. I ask myself, how did I contribute to it? You know what I mean? When I
Mm,
like, for example, if I think about a relationship that I was in, I don't blame myself for that relationship ending. I blame myself, not blame myself. I just sit back and I wonder, how did I contribute to this breakup, or how did I contribute to it getting this far? You know what I mean? And like you said, doing some self reflecting, It's just very important so I don't repeat the same cycle in the next situation that I might, be in. And that's just in everyday life. You know what I mean? Everyday life. I think it's good to do some self-reflecting, which is like I do on Sundays for my self-love day. That is my day of self-reflecting. You know what I mean? So
Everyone should have a self-love day.
it's important. It's important. Like I I purposely sometimes I've been getting out a little bit more, but I purposely try not to do anything on that day with people. Like I'll turn my cell phone off. I make sure that I really tune in because I've had some things that happened over the past year or so, and I just really needed some time to sit back and love on me a little bit extra. So that is definitely the day that I give myself a little bit more love. What about you?
Yeah, and you know what? I just want to say that sometimes that time to yourself is healing, you
Mhm.
know?
Mhm.
And I'm with you, T. I my self-care day is Sunday and Monday, girl. I had to have two.
I hear that. I'm not mad at you for that. I'm not mad at you for that. That's not bad. Listen, I'm not mad. Like
I
whatever it
love
takes.
Mondays. Mondays as a self care day, it's like when the rest of the world is starting to do stuff, getting back
Mhm.
into their routines.
Mhm.
There I'm there, still just,
I'm
I
slightly
gotta
jealous.
still decompress. A day is not enough for me. I don't even know why they made a 5 day work week. Can we need to revisit that because it's not enough, because we don't pay enough attention to our mental health and our self care
Right. Right.
and know that it is healing.
Right.
Because when we spend that time by ourselves, even if it's doing things that we love to do, that we start thinking about the things that we want. Like,
Right.
do I
Right.
want this today or do I want that? Or it brings us back to what
Right.
we need, especially as Black women. We don't, not saying that we neglect what we need
Right.
often to help
Right.
others. So it's important to have that one day, at least one,
Right.
don't gotta
And
go
and
above and
that's
beyond.
why like I will take a mental day from work. You know what I mean? I do not shy away. We get PTO for a reason, you know what I mean? And people don't use it, you know what I mean? They try to be so they get so caught up in work. And I have learned that yeah, this job is going to be here tomorrow. Like if something was to happen to me, they're going to put another ad out and they're going to replace me. So my mental health is so important to me. But Kimberly says the one thing I blame myself for is not being more vocal by being a yes girl. Growth
Mm.
in time has taught me to be content with myself, my feelings, and realizing that I matter. Yeah, that's amazing.
Kimberly, that is actually a great one because there are a lot of people who fear saying no.
Mm-hmm,
And especially as a coach, like a lot of people are fear saying no and they say yes out of many different reasons. Most of the time it's insecurity. So it's like, if I don't say yes, then they're not going to like me. If I don't say yes, then this is going to happen. And it's like, no, it's going to give you more respect. you
mm-hmm,
know
mm-hmm.
Protect yourself and protect your peace. That brings you the ultimate respect. You think people are going to respect you just because you said yes? No,
Right.
it's going to
Not
give
at
them an
all.
opportunity to walk right all over you.
Mm-hmm,
So think about yourself and what you need sometimes before you even. And I know that we're not really on you, Kimberly, but this is important because a lot of
mm-hmm.
people think that saying yes will ultimately get them the love and the things that they want out of a person or people, and that's not the case. you
Not at
know
all.
you you setting those boundaries with yourself first. Like, someone asks, hey, can you take me to the store? And it's like, well, I know I just got off work. Look, you
Mm,
got to do some. I
mm-mm.
know I just got. Before you even look, I'm like, what's his name? What's the dude name with the glasses? I
Ooh.
don't know. Shannon Shop. I'm like, mm-mm. They don't even call it ask me no more because look, believe it
Mm-mm.
or not, I used to be one of those people pleasers. Like, and when I set those boundaries, when I started saying no, it was more of a, oh, I'm not gonna ask April because she's gonna say no. And I'm like, yes, I made it
No,
there.
no is a complete sentence. No is a
Absolutely.
complete sentence.
But you know what? Some people can't say no. So if you can't say no, nah,
Well,
you
you
know,
know what? You know what though?
you
I
can
know
say no.
people.
You can
I
do it
used
in
to be
different ways.
be that way too. But if you can't say no, say I'll think about it. And then when they come back to you, no, I thought about it. Like, really take that time. No, I thought about it. No.
I think that's, you know what? I think that's actually a good one too. But I don't see. But the thing is, when you have anxiety,
Okay.
because we
Okay.
ain't there anymore. But when you got
Okay.
anxiety, it's the callbacks that get you. It's
You
like
don't have to answer.
you don't, you
No.
don't. I listen. There are multiple ways to say no. You could do it the way that
You can
I
do it in
stated.
Spanish.
You can
No.
do it. It's in every language. But just as important, just as
Yeah.
important to protect yourself.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
agree.
I know that we didn't win on, but that was important. That's
No,
important,
no is very important. No is very important. So,
right?
all right. So here we go. We have question number 2 is, how does holding on to guilt show up in your relationships or habits? How
Mm.
does holding on to guilt show up in your relationships or habits?
Yeah,
Whew.
drop that in the comments. Yeah, how let us know. Now, holding on to guilt, it can show up into your relationships and habits by um one being a people pleaser.
Yep. Yep.
You can becoming a
Yep.
people pleaser,
Yep.
but holding on to guilt, it's more a mental thing for you. It is, you will crash.
Yeah.
You know, you feeling guilty about things that happened in the past when you ultimately are supposed to grow and learn from it is the biggest thing. Like if you feel guilty, then maybe you should go back and like, hey, what is it that I need to learn from this? What do I need to miss? I mean, what did I
Yeah.
miss that I
I got
need
you.
to reflect on versus holding on to, oh, I did this, I messed up, because we mess up all the time,
Because we're
and
human.
it's how we learn and how we grow from it.
Yeah.
So I don't care what you've done, and I know people can do some really bad things out here, but when we reflect and often ask ourselves why or how did this happen and really grow from it, it's nothing that we can conquer. Sometimes it's our own mental thoughts that will hinder us versus our relationships. It can affect your relationships heavy, because if you're holding on to guilt and to things that's negatively serving you, um everything around us, everything is energy, so it's going to reflect back onto your partner, and then your partner looking at you like, what? It's like everybody upset, everybody's going through it, just because you did not show up for yourself when you needed to by doing that deep reflection. And therapy if you
Yeah.
need it, because therapy
Yeah.
ain't bad.
Therapy is not a
Yeah,
bad
so
thing. I say for me, I think at this stage in my life, at 50 years old, I don't walk around with guilt. I
no.
I believe in unpacking the baggage that I've carried for years. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because those things, yes, they do show up in your relationships, in all relationships, whether that's friendship, sistership, whatever, they do show up. So that is, like you said, it's very important to have that self reflecting or that self love day, so you can really tap in. You know what I mean? I really believe in tapping in. So I don't hold on to guilt. Whatever I do is because I wanted to do it. Whatever I say is because I took a moment to think about it before I said it. So I don't stand in guilt. Anything that I do or say, I meant to do it and I meant to say it. So
I
that's just
agree.
what I am today. Can't say that I was there years ago, but it did show up. It showed up in so many ways. So many ways where I would lose myself. I would lose myself in any of
Right.
those connections that I had. So
Right. So another, thing, how guilt will show up in our relationships, that it will hinder relationships. You
true,
probably won't even get to the relationship. And
true,
I'm not just talking about romantic relationships.
true.
That guilt can bleed over into your work, your career environment, your kids if you have them, your friendships if you have them. That
Hmm.
guilt can eat you alive,
Hmm.
when in turn it's just, hey, maybe I did mess up. Hey, this did happen, but I'm going to move forward and I'm going to learn from my mistakes, and I won't beat myself up over it,
Hmm.
because I know I'll do better next time.
Right.
Also, sometimes it's to teach us a lesson. So, say you had something happen
Hmm.
to you and you didn't learn that lesson, you didn't know how to show up for yourself, but then it comes back around again.
Right.
Like, let's say it's a job, for instance. It's like, hey, you messed up on a paper. Okay, you feel guilty. You messed up on that paper. Are you going to quit your job? What are you going to do?
Right.
If they
Right.
offer you the opportunity to do it again, and you know where you messed up at, are you going to do it again? I
But
say yes,
I
especially.
I think, I'm sorry to cut you off, sis. I think the question is, can you admit that to yourself though? Because there are some people who are not able to admit these things to themselves. You know what I mean? Yes, you screwed up. Now, what's the next step? Like,
Yeah,
how do you how do you fix that now? I think there's a lot of people who don't even acknowledge it though. Because like you
right.
said,
Be real
you
with
quit the
yourself.
job. Because some people may quit that. Some people may do that. Like the anxiety and all that stuff may kick in so much that they may just do that, may quit a job. But then,
Right.
what does that label you as, though?
Right. And anxiety is a big thing too. Look, you see how we're just going into each, because they all play a factor in
Mm-hmm.
healing. So
Mm-hmm.
anytime that you have anxiety, the first thing that you should do is pause,
Right.
stop.
Right.
Okay, like thinking and the things that's going around you. Sometimes you just have to stop and
Take a
breathe
breather.
and
Yeah.
say, "I'm okay. Everything's okay," because it is, right? But don't give yourself anxiety, especially over, something that can be reflected on. you
Right.
know if you have the opportunity to reflect on something that's been bothering you, because normally 9 times out of 10 it's going to stay in the back of our heads, like, why did I
Won't be
do
able to
that, or this
sleep.
happened, da, 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 da.
Mm-hmm.
Just got to learn from it next time, and really, think about the things that you've done to get to this point and move forward. Put your big girl drawers on, move forward, and do what you have to do, and to overcome whatever it is that stood in your way at that point in time, that stops you in your tracks. Just
You
know that
know,
it won't stop you no more if you
but you
face
know, you
it.
know, you know what though? Anxiety wasn't even in my vocabulary until I hit uh uh 40. It
Mm,
wasn't in my vocabulary. Like one day I was having a breakdown and I didn't know what was happening. You know what I
mm,
mean? I didn't know what was happening. And before counseling and all that stuff, is you see how you said take a moment to breathe? Like
yeah,
I found myself like hyperventilating, you know what I mean? And all I could do is think is to just breathe.
right,
But it's unfortunate that there's some people when it comes to certain situations that it hit them harder than others. You know what I mean?
right.
Francine says it impacts your mental health. I definitely agree with that. All everything that you
Absolutely,
just said,
absolutely. Like
everything
this
you just
new
said.
day and age, they call it crashing out. And it's like,
Yeah, that's
baby,
a new
this
thing.
they
Okay, yeah,
making this stuff cool.
yeah.
I don't
I
know.
don't see the coolness in that at all.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
But
So I guess
that's
that
really good.
you said what happened?
No, I was saying that was really good. That was really good. That information.
Right, right. Um, I guess you have the next. Let me
Yeah,
see.
I can go to the next one. So the next question is, what does it look like to fully forgive your younger, hurt, or unaware self? So what does it look like to fully forgive your younger, hurt, or unaware self? What you got, April? Because I definitely got something for that.
So what it looks like to forgive my younger hurt and unaware self. Let me tell you something. Like, I have been on a healing journey for a very long time, and I just want to say that we never stop healing. Okay,
Absolutely, absolutely.
as much as we think, oh, I'm healed now, no, it's a
No.
whole journey.
Mm-mm.
So forgiving my younger self, sometimes we don't even know that we need to forgive ourselves. It's
Right.
like so many things happens to us. you know we think like it's on the other person, but sometimes subconsciously we hold on to those wounds, and it makes us feel different about ourselves, um or it makes us just not accept everything that's going on around us the way that we need to. So as far as my younger self, at first I thought it was, like, they did stuff to me. I didn't do
Right.
anything. So,
Right. It
but
wasn't me.
as I continue my healing journey, I was like, oh, snap. Like, okay, maybe that stuff did hurt me. So then I had to go back and ease the hurt. So one of the ways that I've done that was talked at first. Writing is going to be the best tool to really forgive and to really reflect and to just to just do give an overall breakdown, because when you start
That's how
writing
you gotta see it.
subconsciously, a lot of different things start coming up. You
Mhm,
just got to
mhm,
start. You just got to put that first sentence, and then everything else will start to it will start to follow.
mhm,
So I wrote, I forgave the people around me in order to forgive myself, because that's even more important, because you got to forgive the ones around you. And sometimes the things that people do to us, it's really hard to forgive. And
mhm,
it's okay to never forget, but
mhm.
forgiving is more so for you to stop carrying that baggage,
Right, right.
so that's another one, is to forgive. And the last, I would say, is to speak to yourself, your inner child within.
Mhm,
It's been plenty of times where I've meditated and I've gone within, and you may think this doesn't work, but it's so powerful that I will go within and talk to my younger self. And I will
mhm.
say, I'll and sometimes when I visualize, and this is just me closing my eyes, doing deep breath work, and then I'm talking to God, and I'm like, hey, clear the energy, clear the fields,
Right.
and I will see myself with my younger self. And sometimes I'll be curled in a ball in a corner, and or sometimes I'll be whatever, and I'll be like, hey, I'll talk to myself, and I'll say you're safe. That's one of the main things, saying you're safe, and just going back and forth with whatever it is you need to talk to your younger self about. And then afterwards, I will please my inner child by doing things that I love to do, as a
I
kid
love that.
and now, because as a kid, I didn't get to do a lot of kid things.
Right.
So that's why I love amusement parks, and I
Yeah, we
love
got
doing
one coming up.
activities and traveling. So
Yeah.
yeah, so that's another thing, the way that you can heal and actually, help your inner child, is by doing the things that you love to do as a kid. That's why we're having field day. Make sure y'all come out to play
Mhm.
some red light, green light. Y'all better learn. Y'all better start running now,
Oh
get on that
man.
treadmill.
I think
What about you? I'm
for
so
me,
eager to know.
for me, so I had to write a letter to my younger self. I
Mm,
wrote a letter to my younger self, and I had to allow her to grow up and realize that the things that transpired in your life is not what it shaped you, but it's not who you are. So I had to
right.
learn to not be a victim of my own circumstances, as difficult as that was. What I have done is I've wrote little notes to myself, and I buried those notes, and I leave those exactly where they are, buried. Um,
Mm,
it took a lot of counseling. You know what I mean? It took a lot of counseling and having conversations to dig deep. Because sometimes people don't want to go down that rabbit hole because it's scary. You know
right.
what I mean? It's very scary. But I challenge myself. I challenge myself to definitely tap in and allow the little girl to feel and allow her to grow up. And that is how. And I tell people all the time that I'm forever in healing recovery. You know what I
Oh
mean?
yeah.
I'm constantly on this journey. I've been on this journey now for about 4 years, going on 5 years, and it's the most amazing feeling at this stage, because what people I think people tend to forget is, just as Black people, we are born into trauma, and then you
Right.
add, just your journey alone, you add the levels of trauma that we face, and there's no blueprint to this, so there's no one that can say this is how you do it, because the way you handled it may not work for me. So I just believe in making sure the little girl never goes back into that little corner, you know what I mean, and cry herself to sleep. I try to keep her grown and keep her safe. I try to keep,
Absolutely.
keep her safe, and making sure that her nervous system is safe. And that's around anybody, any form of relationship, even at work. Even at work.
Right.
Kimberly said it's the notion of realizing that I'm human and I was designed to grow, change, heal, love, reflect, and keep living. I love that.
Absolutely.
I love that.
I love that too.
I love that.
So, as I guess the next question would be, like, who's still trying to relate to the past version of you, and how do you handle that?
Mm. All right, let me get that in this. When you said who's still trying to relate to their past version, And how do you
Who's
handle
still
that?
trying to relate to your past
Oh,
version,
to
like the
my
past version of yourself, and how do you
oh.
handle that? That's like the how who you used to be. It
So
could be back in the day, it could be yesterday.
I've no seriously, I've had that, and I'm gonna tell you, it's for me, it's a little annoying. I've met there's friends that I've had, since I was a teenager, and there's gentlemen that I may have dated or may have known, growing up, who still have this 20-year-old version of me in their head where they think that they know me. And it's like
Absolutely.
you don't know me, because Taisha at 50 is not who Taisha was at 20. You know what I
Right.
mean? I understand that you knew me then, but you got to get to know the newer version of me. You know what I mean? That's even like even our parents. They're
Right,
so
right, right.
used to you being the baby girl forever, but you got to get to know the woman that I am today. So I run into that a lot. I do. I run into that a lot, and I'm constantly have to say that you got to get to know Taisha today. You got to get to know Taisha today, because Taisha today was not Taisha yesterday. Now I don't get mad, but it's annoying when people say like, well, remember how you the type of person. You don't know the type of person because I haven't seen you in like 10 years. What do you mean? I
Right.
haven't seen you in 10 years. So I try to handle it with grace. I'll just leave it at that. I try to handle it with grace. You know what I mean? And but I try not to sever those relationships. I try to make sure that let's meet up, let's link up, because I'm in a different space today. So what about yourself?
Yeah. Me, who there are the past version of myself is dead. Okay? I am not who I used to be. That means the people pleasing, that means the quietness, that means whatever you think that I am not her.
I am not her.
And sometimes the people from our past are not
Mm,
meant to
mm,
go where we are. So they will
I
be
agree.
watching from the sidelines and
So you,
wondering
so you can't even get in the
how I
plans.
handle that. Most of the times, if where we meant to go, they're not meant to go with us,
Right.
especially if they're
I
doing
agree.
things that we're not doing any
Totally
longer.
agree with that.
So
Hmm.
they either gonna root for us or they gonna boo us. Either way, we still moving, right?
I'm still good either
Um,
way.
exactly. So how do I handle people from my past?
Hmm.
If they start bringing up stuff, I'm gonna correct it.
Hmm.
But I don't really hang out with people from my past. I don't talk to no one from my
Okay.
past. It is not that I have ill intentions or bad blood with anyone from my past. It's just, I'm constantly growing,
Right.
and sometimes it just don't work out with this. It's like we're not in the same things. We're not doing the same things. It's like I'm rooting for you, sis. I'm
Right.
rooting for you, sir.
Right.
But it's
Right.
time to move on. And if anyone tries to disturb that peace, um, then that's something then you getting blocked and cut off. I don't play when it comes to you know to my energy now, especially during the healing. And even I'm not going to say after the healing because there is no after.
Right.
We're constantly
Right.
healing
Still
and
going.
learning and growing.
Right.
Right. So I'm more so now inclined to hit that block, ban, and delete button than anyone else. Because yeah, if you can't respect that, now you can be from the past and you can, we can talk and hang out or whatever the case is. But if you start acting foolish or doing foolish things, then I'm gonna correct it. If it don't get right, then you're gone.
I mean, I feel like we
Now,
had this conversation before. People are here for a reason, season, or a lifetime. You know what I mean?
absolutely.
And if for me personally, if we're not growing, not saying we're doing the same exact thing, but if we're not growing in the same path, then yeah, those relationships I really keep at bay. I don't need that. I need to be around positive energy at all times. At all times.
Absolutely.
So yeah, you said a mouthful, and I'm in totally agreement with that. Um,
Yeah.
Go ahead. I'm listening to you, boo.
No, I was good, but I just feel like some of the ladies and thank you to everyone who's tuning in,
Right.
but someone may need to hear how to handle that because
Yeah.
a lot of people are going through transitions and trying to move away from certain things and people and
Which is not
places, and
easy.
then they still got people, it's like,
It's not
hey, you
easy.
got to do what's best for you.
At the end of the
Sometimes it
day,
can go.
at the end of the day, honestly, and I think I say this all the time. It's about your happiness. The happiness starts with you from within. So if they can't rock with that, like
It
deuces,
has to go.
deuces. But we have your favorite segment, girl, help me out. So this is an anonymous question that we received, and I just posted in the chat. So it says, "Oh, you want to read that? Go read that, April. What this says." I was about to
So
take your segment.
no, you're fine. You're fine. You look, you and I would have been watching the whole time, like, okay. But I just want the girl help me out. So everyone who's on a viewer, so this segment, the girl help me out segment, is from us, not from us, from y'all to us.
Mhm,
They want our help. Okay,
mhm,
so basically they send in questions is anonymously. So if you feel like you want to ask a question and you want your girl friends to help you out, and just make sure you send us an email. It's anonymous, and your name is not put out there. So it's just so the comments and questions from the audience, from you guys, is highly recommended. Okay.
mhm.
So our question of the day: hey sis, I need y'all to help me out. Since I've started focusing on myself and doing the work to heal, I've noticed a lot about my relationships, especially with my boyfriend and mother. My boyfriend says I'm becoming too independent and that I do not need him like I used to. Meanwhile, my mother thinks I'm being disrespectful just because I'm finally setting boundaries and not letting her control my decisions. Girl, help me out. How do I
Mm.
stay true to my healing journey without losing my relationship or causing tension with my mother? What will you do? It's the what will you do for me.
What would
Y'all want to
you
know?
do? I had to write this one down when I saw this. This was very interesting. So I would say, sis, your healing journey is about becoming the best version of yourself, not pushing people away. Try having an open and honest talk with your boyfriend. Let him know that your independence does not mean you do not love him or appreciate him. Involve him in your growth. Ask how you both can grow together. See how he feels, about being included and not replaced. And then with your mother, remind her gently. I had to had to deal with this. Remind her gently that your boundaries are not disrespect. They're your sign of self-love and maturity. Explain that you will need her support, but in a healthy way that honors your adulthood. Healing does not mean losing relationships. It means teaching the people who you love how to love the new you, which we talked about that, which can be very difficult for some. So keep communicating with love and patience. The ones who truly care will adjust and grow with you. What you think about that, April?
I agree. So if I was to have to give you advice, sis, as far as your boyfriend feeling like you're coming too independent, I would have a conversation.
Yeah.
First of all, communication is always going to be key. And I just want to say on our healing journey, okay, it's a journey, a long journey, okay? And
Forever.
that means sometimes people are not going to understand what we're trying to do, how,
Right.
like, why are we switching up so much. So I'm not going to say, like, lean into how they feel, but sometimes you got to communicate and give people grace, like,
Right.
hey, yeah, I know this is what I used to do, but I'm not her no more.
It's not
I'm
who I
really
am.
taking
Right.
this, I'm doing this, and
Right.
this is happening the way this is happening. Set boundaries with yourself first, because sometimes, especially like if your mother's used to taking on your responsibilities in a sense, or telling you what to do, then it's going to be hard to do that pushback when you try to do it your own way. So
Mm-hmm.
having communication with both your mother and your partner is very, very, very important.
Mm-hmm.
And no, at the end of the day, this is your healing journey. So if it does not align with how they respond, if it does not align, then you have some questions that you need to ask yourself
Right.
about the next chapter of your
Right.
life.
Right.
The-
Right. I think as far as like the parent is concerned, the parents are some parents are just used to us still being their little ones. You know what I mean? I know with my mom, like I love her to death, but I had to set that boundary. Like I don't want to have these conversations. You know what I mean? I don't. I know that this is what we're used to, but I don't want to do this anymore. You know,
Right.
um, where there's growth, I think sometimes people have a hard time with dealing with your level of growth because maybe they're not there yet. You know what I
Right.
mean? And I mean, the journey that I'm on, you either catch up or I have to leave you behind.
Absolutely. And honestly, don't be, I mean, I'm not going to say don't be afraid to leave no one behind. I'm not afraid to
Right,
leave a soul behind. And
right,
especially, I don't care if you gave birth to me, and I damn sure don't care how long we've been in a relationship or friendship. It's like,
right,
hey, my mental health, my healing, me, I'm very, very important. Okay.
right, right,
And if I need I need time, I need to do whatever it is I need to do, I'm going to do it.
right.
So, um, yeah, I definitely understand
I
because
get that.
sometimes we have to let people go. That's going to be a part of the journey overall because everyone's not meant to go, you know?
Right, right. Everybody's
Yeah.
not meant to stay around. So that was really good, really good. All right. So the next segment is drop the mic, and then
Boo, 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 boo.
what does healing look like to you? So, what does healing
Hmm.
look like to you, April?
What healing looks like to me is deep breaths,
Mhm,
affirmations,
mhm, mhm.
self reflection, being self aware, what's going on,
Right,
how I need to resolve and fix, because it's not all about pampering yourself, even
right,
though that is very important.
right,
um you know Healing doesn't have to be spa days. Healing could just be you sitting down on the bathroom floor, you just crying, but you just realized that that ain't what I need, or
right.
that's not what I want any longer. That healing can show up in so many different ways.
Mhm.
But as long as you're being true to yourself, and you're willing to get a little dirty, not in a physical sense,
I
it could
get
be
what you're saying.
mentally,
Yeah. Yeah.
but as long as you're saying yes to yourself,
Mhm.
that's the ultimate healing.
Yeah. I think for
What
me,
about you?
it's showing up for me, showing up for
Yeah.
myself. Um, Diving in deep with the real questions, the real questions, and not being afraid to answer those questions.
Can
Go
you
ahead.
name one real question, just in case someone needs to hear? What is one question that you would ask, that you reflect on?
The one question that I reflect on is, what is something that you don't want people to know about yourself? And the hardest thing was responding to that. And
Hmm.
I had to, because I bought this book on healing, and that was one of the questions, and that stuck with me. And I think the one of the hardest things, um, that I did not want people to know was that I was afraid. That
Hmm.
when I someone said to me, and I appreciate that, but they say that you don't look like your circumstances. You don't look how you say you feel. You know
Right.
what I mean? And because I was taught without being taught or told that you have to just keep showing up,
Yeah.
and you got to put all that stuff behind there. You got to keep moving forward. And when I started counseling is when I started to realize that I had a lot of stuff. I was carrying some heavy bags, some heavy bags. So I've learned that it's okay to be afraid, but also you have to make sure that you do the work to release the tension because there's a lot of tension. So I had to do the work to release the tension. So yeah, it's. healing for me today looks like I said, just showing up for myself and reminding myself that it's okay. It's okay to not be okay.
It is okay to not be okay.
Mhm.
Wholeheartedly.
Mhm.
I agree.
Mhm.
One question on my healing journey, one question I ask myself is it worth it?
Mm.
Is it
Good
worth
question.
it? Because sometimes we hold on to things that's been past expired. And and we find ourselves being complacent,
Yeah.
you know, with familiarity, like we're familiar with it and we don't
Mhm.
want to, like now me,
Mhm.
I'm ready to move, right? I'm ready
Mhm.
to start a
Right.
whole new chapter. And it's like
Right.
that comes with a lot of different things. So it's like,
Right.
is it worth it? You know?
Right.
But
Right.
sometimes when you get those inklings in your head, that means it's time for you to move, not physically, but
Right.
start
Right.
thinking,
Right.
right?
Right. Right.
So that is one thing that I ask myself often, not just with relationships, not just with friendships, but with
Mhm.
jobs. It could be
Mhm.
my environment, it could be my family, it could be anything.
Mhm.
And when I'm real with myself in that moment, and I say like, oh, yeah, or nah, not yet. I could
Right. Right.
give me
Right.
a few more weeks. Let me come back to that question in a week. But for the most part, if I'm asking myself that question, it's going to be a yes.
Right.
It's sometimes it's hard to hear the things like we want change, but we're afraid to go after the change. So
Mhm. Mhm.
sometimes it's hard to hear that. But one of the ways that we go about, get around that is
Mhm.
to, after the reflection, start making steps, start making a plan.
Right.
So
Right.
that's one way that, and that's been coming up a lot lately.
Yeah.
So
I think healing is just being honest with yourself.
absolutely.
Just being raw, rugged, and honest with yourself. I think that's the only way that you'll be able to push through and make the decisions that you need to make. Just be honest. You know what I mean? And
Absolutely.
that's what I want around me as well. I want honesty around me. Like if you feel if I made you feel a way about something, like just be honest. You know what I mean? So we can heal together.
Exactly. So, who are you becoming? You, yes, you. Who are you becoming? So, tell us one truth about the woman you're becoming. Okay.
Mm.
For instance, let's start it off. All right. So, I'm becoming someone who chooses herself without guilt.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, who am I
And
becoming?
this, mm-hmm.
Who am I becoming? Um, I am becoming the woman that stands in her truth, regardless. I'm standing in my truth, regardless of how it makes me feel or anyone around me.
I love that. I love that. We could become so many things. I will be on this screen all day. you know, because becoming has nothing to do with letting go of something else that you may love
Right,
about yourself.
right.
Like, say for instance, I'm a leader, but I'm becoming a world leader, like a speaker, like a guider, those different types of things, a healer, all of those things, but times 10. That's who I'm becoming, the
Yeah,
ultimate one.
yeah.
you know
I love that. I love that.
So let us know in the comments, who are you becoming, and make sure you tag a sis that
Yes,
needs to hear these messages. We
yes.
love you. Look, we love you. We got you, sis. All
You say,
right,
you say,
listen. Absolutely, we need to end
but
every live.
no,
Hey,
this was a
listen.
really, 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 really good show. Such great information, and we gotta heal together. One day at a time. One day at a time.
Absolutely. So, are you healing, or are you behind? Not are you? That did not. Absolutely not. Come out right.
Okay, what was you about
Let
to
me
say?
say that again.
What was you about to say?
Are you healing?
Mm-hmm.
Are you hiding behind boundaries that became walls?
Mm.
So we're going to leave you with that question, and we're going
Mm.
to say happy Juneteenth. We
Happy
love y'all.
Juneteenth.
And thank you for tuning in once again.
Yes. Thank you
And
so
we'll
much.
see y'all in 2 weeks.
But wait, April. Don't
What's
forget
up?
to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok.
Make sure you like and subscribe. We love you
Yes, and make sure you
guys.
share this with your good sis. Share this with your good sis that self-discovery is healing. All right, boo. Y'all have a good night. Happy Juneteenth. April, I will talk to you later. It's always good seeing you.
Love you
Talk to you
too. Bye,
soon.
you guys.
All right. Bye-bye.